Hi, Julie Jones from SSB Performance, Smarter, Stronger, Better Mindset Training, here with this week's Mindset Made Simple Tip of the Week, brought to you by Game Day Sportswear. This week we're talking about managing pressure. It's a skill. So why don't we train it? That's really the question. I don't know about you, but I love championships in just about any sport. I love watching people celebrate. I love watching the tears of joy, watching grown men and women jump up and down like little kids, the relief, the parents in the stands, and all that hard work finally paying off in a championship. There's something powerful about watching people achieve all that they've worked for, no doubt about it. But on the other side, if I'm being honest, I don't really like watching people struggle, but it's fascinating to watch the moments when pressure shows up and to observe how people manage that when their emotion spills over. Not because I enjoy watching failure, but because every single one of us understands these feelings. We've all been at the top, we've all been at the bottom. We've all felt pressure. We've all worried about outcomes. We've feared disappointing ourselves and the people around us. We've watched something or somebody important somehow feel impossible, either scary, maybe uncertain. It's all part of being human, and we know this. But pressure is not just a part of sports. It's a part of everything. It's a part of anything that we care deeply about. Parenting, relationships, careers, performance in general. There's presentations, you name it. And I was reminded of this in a conversation I had last week with a coach who was Coach of the Year, had a great year, great program. They won, they grew. She's got a culture that she's really, really proud of. But when the championship season came upon them, they started to tighten up. Their emotions became a little bit bigger and their performance became a little less consistent. So what do great coaches do? Like this coach, she's looking not to blame athletes or to blame the system or blame anything else. She's looking to try to figure out how she can take the next step forward and get them to where she really thinks they can be. And that conversation immediately took me to last week's tip when we talked about difficult moments and how they physically change us. Frustration tightens muscles. Attention starts to shift away. Our breathing changes. Timing changes. Decision-making changes. The body becomes more protective, less free. Pressure works in the same way. And if we're honest, this is one of the biggest challenges that we have in performance, managing pressure. Athletes spend thousands of hours training physically, technically, tactically, but they spend very, very little time training themselves to function effectively when their nervous system becomes activated under pressure. But if we want to get to the top, pressure is going to follow us, or maybe it leads us all the way. We're not going to escape it. So let's talk about championships. How we started this off. The biggest championship in golf was the Masters. And one of the coolest things to come out of it, in my opinion at least, was not just Rory McIlroy's win, but the Whoop information from his Whoop band that he shared with everybody as the tournament was going on or after the tournament. So this guy, one of the greatest athletes in the world, was showing us that he was extremely elevated. He was activated. This is one of the best golfers in the world, and his body was going boom, boom. His heart was going boom, 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 boom. What does that mean for the rest of us? Most athletes think that pressure is a problem, and our activated system changes the way we play. Well, it doesn't. Our elevated heart rate, just like McIlroy's, can be facilitative. It can help us. But at one point, his heart rate was 135 beats per minute. And during the winning putt, it dropped significantly. Then it rose back up to 150 or more as he celebrated, up and down and up and down. But this proves that elite performers don't avoid feeling pressure. Their body isn't absolved from it. Elite performers learn how to function in it. Pressure is not weakness. Pressure is activation. The body speeds up, attention changes, muscles tighten, just like we talked about. But this isn't just imaginary. It's not even just mental. It's physiological. And research shows that pressure changes how athletes process information, how we control our attention, how we execute movement. And under stress, the brain often shifts resources toward threat detection, and that our memory becomes overloaded, our attention gets all over the place or too narrowed, one or the other. Our automatic movements become very, very, very controlled. Dr. Sayan Bilak, who studies choking, found that pressure-filled situations often cause performers to consciously monitor their automatic motions. In other words, they start to guide. They try to guide the ball. They try to guide their shot. And that makes a big difference in how we perform, but it doesn't have to. Sometimes this pressure we can use it as an activation tool. It doesn't automatically destroy our performance, because if it did, nobody would perform well in championship moments. Playoff games and overtime situations would be a mess for both teams. But some athletes actually perform better under these situations. If McIlroy can sink a putt, have his heart rate here and get it down, he obviously did something to learn how to do that. It also makes a difference in how he interpreted that. Maybe that heart rate says, hey, I'm ready to go. And our interpretation of how our body feels makes a huge difference as well. Most athletes are just not pressure trained, I guess you can say, right? They're under prepared physiologically and mentally for moments they're entering and how they're going to process that environment. And honestly, I think this challenge is becoming even more complicated in youth sports today. Many young athletes now experience pressure very different than we did, or than I did for sure. The rise of showcases, recruiting events, rankings, social media, travel schedules, all these different things, the constant competition, the constant reminders of what everybody else is doing has changed the emotional environment surrounding performance for everyone. In some ways, athletes are more exposed to pressure because they constantly feel evaluated. But in other ways, they experience fewer opportunities to truly sit inside meaningful competitive moments because there's always another game, there's always another tournament, there's always another weekend, there's another team to go to, there's always another event coming quickly, and we can just move on. Years ago, seasons often built towards smaller number of truly meaningful moments, and athletes had to sit with wins and losses and pressure and disappointment a little bit longer. It was win or go home. Now we move immediately to the next event before processing even the one that we just got finished with. That's not necessarily good or bad. I'm not judging it, but it does mean our work becomes more important, and it changes our approach. Pressure management can't simply be a pre-game speech or a motivational phrase. It has to become a part of development and preparation, because as they say, in the history of the human race, telling somebody to calm down has yet to calm anybody down. It's not about calming down, it's figuring out how to regulate. But the good news is this: even small amounts of intentional mental training appear to help. Dr. Amishi Jha has shown that mindfulness training can improve attention, emotional regulation, all of this under stress. And more recent research suggests that very brief mindfulness interventions can positively impact our performance. That matters because many athletes and coaches dismiss mental training because they can't dedicate huge blocks of time to it. We don't need that. The brain needs repetition. It will respond to repetition and consistency more than perfection or a lot of time necessarily. 2 intentional minutes can matter. Maybe the biggest lesson in this is that pressure management doesn't begin in the pressure moment. It begins before pressure begins. We aren't going to benefit from a breath in a pressure moment if we haven't practiced it outside of pressure. Like our military, we don't learn new maneuvers in Iraq or Iran or Afghanistan or wherever we've been. We learn it on our bases in our country. When we learn these things, they can then become trained signals that say, hey, I can regulate because I've done this before. So what would this 2 minutes of intentional management look like a little bit? It doesn't have to be anything complicated. We can sit or we can stand still. We can slow our breath. We can focus our attention on breathing. We can focus our attention on our posture, our simple cue word. When our mind wanders, we bring it back without judgment. Just repeat that. That's it. Wander back, wander back. It's not to empty the mind. It's not to become perfectly calm. It's not to eliminate nerves. The goal is to train our attention. The goal is noticing thoughts, noticing emotion, noticing activation without immediately getting pulled or directed by them. And that awareness makes a difference under pressure, because that's where the practice pays off. Because those that have noticed and let thoughts go as they practice can recognize the speeding up. They can recognize all the things that they need to be doing in order to get back to where they need to be. It's not magic. It's not anything special. It literally is just noticing thoughts that are not what we're supposed to be paying attention to and letting them go. If we practice that, outside of pressure, if we practice that in our home when we're laying in bed, it's hard to do. Try it. See how many times your mind wanders. This is why I haven't had a mindfulness practice, because I thought, oh my gosh, my mind wanders all the time. And I thought, you know what? I'm just not good at this. But the bottom line, I am cheating myself out of managing distraction, out of managing pressure. Because if I can notice when my thoughts go away from my intended target, then I can do that when I'm under pressure too. But if I don't practice it outside of pressure, it is never going to happen when I'm feeling stressed. So what do we need to do? We know that pressure is going to come. No matter who we are or no matter what we're doing, at some point we are going to feel as if we are rushed, as if we have to make a big decision, as if we are nervous, whatever it is, but that is pressure and it changes the way our body functions. But if we practice regulating our body and we practice the fact that, hey, when I take a deep breath like this is what I mean. I have the ability to pull myself back to where I need to be. That is vital to our success. So 2 minutes can make a difference. Focus on your breathing. Notice your thoughts. We're not judging them. We're not saying, hey, oh my gosh, I can't believe I can't pay attention for 2 minutes. Because that's just activating us. Or if you do notice that, say, hey, I'm activated. Let's get back to where we need to be. Because in a game or in a speech or in a meeting, when you start to feel like you're getting pulled away, all that time or all those times that you pulled yourself back, you have trained that muscle, if you will, to be more reliable to say, hey, I know that in circumstances where I am not focused on what I need to focus on, I'm pretty good now at pulling myself back. Wouldn't it be amazing if we could do that under pressure? But it's the first step. It's the first step. So championships are here. Pressure is building. Some people are at home because they couldn't handle the pressure, maybe. Or some people don't reach their potential because they're afraid of the pressure. But something like this could be the bottom or the foundation or the foundational tool of what we need to build upon to help us manage ourselves when things get tight. We're going to talk more about this as we go over the next couple weeks, but since it's championship season and since Rory gave us some insight into the fact that his heart rate was really high and then he was able to bring it back down, the pressure didn't go away in the situation. He learned to sit in it. He learned to work in it because the pressure doesn't go. The situation will not change. But he knew that he has hit a ball 1,000,000 times. He knew that if he could regulate his body, he was going to be more effective in that moment. And he looked at it like, hey, my heart rate's up because this matters. Because that's really what the truth of it is. We feel pressure because it matters to us. And if we look at that as a problem, we're in trouble. If we look at it as a, hey, my body's good. Actually, this heart rate might be getting me like really ready to go and do this physically. And then if I can chill it just for a second before I take the shot, I'm in business. So we need to train for pressure. We train for everything else. And this might be the separator. I would love to work with your team on training for pressure, just like I'm going to work with that Coach of the Year, and it's going to be tons of fun. So if you have any thoughts on this or if you'd like to get connected, reach out, juliej@ssbperformance.com. Let's have a conversation about how we can build a plan for managing what is certain to come. Until next week, have a great week or not. It's up to you.